If you looked out your living room window and saw a towering city skyline swaying back and forth like a forest caught in a massive storm, well, your absolute first instinct would probably be to run for your life, right? It's a genuinely terrifying visual. We're totally conditioned to think that buildings should just stand perfectly still, that movement equals collapse. But over in Tokyo, this dramatic, sweeping sway is actually the exact thing keeping millions of people safe. Today we're diving into the extreme physics of buildings that survive by literally breaking away from the Earth. Okay, let's dive into this. What if the secret to surviving a massive, devastating earthquake isn't about building thicker walls or pouring heavier concrete? What if the real answer isn't unyielding strength, but surrender? It's wild, but Japanese engineers have adopted this completely counterintuitive approach. They are intentionally designing skyscrapers to behave like giant, fluid pendulums. I want you to really picture this number in your head for a second. Imagine a massive 60-story skyscraper. Now picture the very top of that building swaying several meters back and forth in the open air during a huge tectonic shift. To anyone watching from the ground, it honestly looks like an absolute disaster unfolding. But here's the crazy part. Forcing that massive tower to oscillate violently is a highly calculated defense mechanism. That terrifying movement, it's exactly what stops the entire structure from just snapping right in half. So let's look at section 1, the rigid paradox. Now, what's really interesting about this is we kind of need to dismantle all those preconceived notions we have about what makes a building safe. For centuries, the old brick and mortar paradigm equated strength entirely with rigidity. You build a thick, heavy, immovable wall, and you just cross your fingers that it's stronger than the earthquake. But in a super high-frequency seismic zone like Japan, rigid buildings actually turn into death traps. They resist the earth power right up until they reach their breaking point, and then they shatter. The new paradigm we're seeing flips that completely, relying entirely on fluid motion and flexibility. And we're seeing this fully realized when we look at the 2026 data and projections for Tokyo's latest mega projects. These new architectural marvels are completely ditching the old philosophies, mostly because those old ways have demonstrably failed in the modern era. The structures slated for completion by 2026 aren't just, a little bit flexible. They are pushing the absolute limits of structural physics to guarantee survival in literally one of the most volatile seismic zones on the planet. Moving right along to section 2, the physics of decoupling. This brings us to a radical mechanical breakthrough called base isolation. And this is exactly what it sounds like. It's the physical detachment of a building's steel skeleton from its actual foundation. So instead of bolting a skyscraper straight into the solid bedrock, engineers are placing massive lead rubber bearings right between the building and the earth. You are basically severing that direct connection so the ground and the building can move completely independently of each other. It's brilliant. Let's move to how this builds chronologically during an actual earthquake. Step 1. Immense tectonic energy hits the ground and the earth starts shifting violently. Then, step 2, that massive energy travels upward but immediately hits these specialized ball bearing joints and those lead rubber pads we just talked about. And finally, step 3, the shock is physically blocked from ever entering the steel skeleton above, so the earth is just allowed to violently slide back and forth beneath the tower, while the massive skyscraper effectively hovers, staying momentarily stationary in space. I mean, it is just an absolutely brilliant manipulation of physics. Next up is section 3, liquid and steel guardians. So physically separating the building from the ground is really only half the battle. Once the earth starts shaking, the building is inevitably going to sway. And to keep that sway from literally tearing the whole thing apart, engineers deploy this incredible modern arsenal of energy dissipation tools. We've got the lead rubber bearings at the base, sure, but inside the walls of the skyscraper itself, there's an amazing network of viscous dampers and liquid-tuned mass weights. These components are your primary defense against the raw power of moving tectonic plates. To put that in perspective, think of viscous dampers as massive, high-tech shock absorbers. It's super similar to what you'd find in a high-performance sports car, but scaled way up for a skyscraper. When the building begins to bend and stretch, these mechanical dampers get to work. But instead of trying to stubbornly stop the building from moving, they actively consume the Earth's power. They take all that violent kinetic energy tearing through the steel frame and smoothly convert it into heat, safely dissipating the danger. It's honestly incredible. And then, up at the very top of these towers, we find the 2026 standard for high-rise survival, liquid-tuned mass dampers. We're talking massive tanks of water or enormous heavy steel weights suspended right near the roof. When a quake pushes the building hard to the right, the immense inertia of these liquid and steel weights pulls them back to the left. They perfectly counter the external oscillations. So they're taking the violent, unpredictable jerks of an earthquake and smoothing them out into this controlled, highly choreographed, fluid dance. All right, Section 4, Active Intelligence Systems. We are no longer just talking about springs and weights here. This is the absolute peak of 21st century architectural evolution. The paradigm is shifting once again, moving from passive resistance to active reaction. Historically, even the absolute best shock absorbers were passive. They just sat there, waiting for the earthquake to hit before they actually did their job. But today, these megaprojects are wired up with modern, AI-driven sensors that can actually detect and predict incoming seismic waves seconds before the physical impact even hits the building. Let that sink in. And this brilliantly illustrates the pinnacle of this active technology, the active mass driver. Because the building's AI actually knows the quake is coming before you can even feel a rumble. Computer-controlled actuators immediately fire up. They pre-adjust the building's center of gravity. These giant machines actively push massive weights back against the direction of the incoming wind and tremors in real time. So the building isn't just surviving the earthquake anymore, it's actively fighting back using precision mathematics. Which brings us to Section 5, the philosophy of surrender. To truly appreciate what these Japanese engineers have pulled off, we kind of need to zoom out from all the micromechanics. This isn't just a triumph of steel and software. It represents a really profound shift in how humanity interacts with the unstoppable forces of nature. The core lesson here, written right into the DNA of these skyscrapers, is simple. The sway is a calculated sacrifice. You're trading rigid stability to preserve the structural integrity of the whole. By allowing the building to yield, by giving that tectonic energy somewhere to go, you completely prevent the bones of the structure from snapping. It's the perfect mechanical embodiment of letting go to stay intact. And really, it's no surprise that this massive physics breakthrough is deeply rooted in a familiar, incredibly beautiful natural analogy, like bamboo, which bends in the storm to avoid breaking. Japanese engineering has looked closely at the natural world. They observed how a huge, rigid oak tree will just get uprooted and totally split by a typhoon, while the slender, flexible bamboo simply bows to the earth and then springs right back up, unharmed, once the storm passes. So, the crucial point is this: survival depends on fluid motion rather than rigid, unyielding strength. I mean, this completely redefines our entire concept of architectural strength for the modern age. Strength isn't about stubbornly fighting the earth anymore. It's about working with the earth's momentum. It is an absolute masterclass in adaptation. And that leaves us with a pretty critical question for our own future. This incredibly fluid, flexible approach is already being exported from Tokyo to seismic zones all over the world. But as extreme environmental events, from earthquakes to totally unprecedented superstorms, just continue to rise globally, we have to look around our own cities. Which of our rigid, unyielding structures must we teach to surrender next? If we want our skylines to survive the coming decades, it might just be time to stop fighting the storm and start learning how to dance with it. Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer. Keep asking those big questions, and I'll see you next time.